angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone, our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Alrighty, so I'm like all kind of backwards here. So I did watch the video, and people were just walking by him, and he was following them and consistently asking them if they would accept him. Okay, now, before I even get started on this, I probably need to let everybody know that I am an ordained minister. You do not hear me constantly berate you about God. You don't hear me constantly talk about God. I take my ordination very, very serious. That is why, and I know Canada is not the United States, and I get that. Canada is not the United States. I don't have to watch the whole video. I can play that first little clip. That's all I got to do is play that first little clip. There were people that weren't standing around there at all. They were on the sidewalk just walking through, and he was following them and demanding that they answer and accept him. Okay, there were people that weren't standing there at all. He was provoking. He was harassing. That's all I need to see. I understand that Canada and the United States are two different countries. But when our forefathers had founded this country, and this is something that a lot of people, I think, get a little bit backwards. In this country, we have something called freedom from religion. Now, most people will say that, no, that's not correct. It's freedom of religion. No, it's freedom from religion. What it means is that no religion or religious organization has the right to force a religious belief on you. Now that is very important because of what they were going through before they fought their independence, what they were going through from things that Britain was doing. Okay? And I wholeheartedly, as an ordained minister, agree with that logic. You don't hear me talk about God all the time. You don't hear me shove it down people's throats that I'm ordained or that God. Why? Because it's not my job to. In fact, the Bible tells me not to do that. I'm not supposed to do that. But if you take a look at our show here, if you take a look at our other business endeavors, this really isn't a business. The news show is not a business. Okay, the show is called The Watchman News. That is directly derived from the Watchman of the Bible. Okay? I actually struggled when I named this show. I really struggled. I spent probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks deciding whether it was going to be the Watchman News or the Watchman News. And I went with the Watchman News because I can't force anything on anybody else. All I can do is proclaim that I am a watchman. I can't force you all to be watchmen, and I don't necessarily mean that in a gender specific way either, but you get where I'm going with that. I actually put a lot of thought into that. If you take a look at our merchandise business, the name of that business is Disabled by Design. A very, very spiritually based reasoning behind that name. Okay, and Jen had a lot of influence on that name, not necessarily in the name and of itself, but her life, her situation. Being born with cerebral palsy. Okay, and she will tell you that if she had somebody walk up to her with a magic wand and give her the opportunity to be rid of cerebral palsy as if she never had it, she wouldn't want to do it. Because her cerebral palsy is what made her who she is today. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that's being disabled by design. There's a purpose. There's a purpose. But see, I don't know if anybody, any of you, even, I don't know if even Evil has heard any of this. I don't believe so. Why? Because I don't shove it down people's throats. I plant that seed and I walk away. I'm not going to get in people's face and tell them that they have to believe in God, or tell them that they have to accept me, or that, they have to believe my religious beliefs. Oh, God, no, you won't see me do that. Because I can tell you right now, if I spent a monologue talking about my religious beliefs, my subscriber count would be down to 1, and I would have so much hate towards me, it would be unreal. And all I can say is I've read the Bible. I have to laugh at it. Again, it's kind of that's almost an inside joke, because I know what my beliefs are, and I know what the tradition says, and yeah, they're kind of, you wouldn't even get it with a fragment if you threw a hand grenade, I'll tell you that. But it's not, we're not supposed to push, and I'm coming from a biblical standpoint, not a constitutional, not a, from a biblical standpoint, we're not supposed to push. We're supposed to be there to answer if people ask, but we're not to be there to push. And I can most certainly play what I just watched of that, and that guy undoubtedly was getting into people's faces and following them around, and that's harassment, that's intimidation. That's not preaching. There's a difference. There's a difference. Give me a moment here.
Cause of disturbance of breaching the
various members of the community. We're here to tell you that we hate nobody. So I'm coming out of the closet and saying I'm a Christian. And I want to know whether you would tolerate me as a Christian. Would you tolerate me, sir? Would you tolerate me as a Christian? I don't want to engage. Ma'am, would you tolerate me as a Christian? Would you tolerate me as a Christian? Go away? Okay, so you're a bigot. Would you tolerate me as a Christian? You don't want to talk to me. Would you tolerate me as a Christian? Would you tolerate me as a Christian? So you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want. You're telling me to get out. You don't want to talk to me. You have your back face towards me.
acceptance. What about acceptance?
What do you? I accept you. You're here. You want to shake my hand? What did I say?
We couldn't touch you. But why do you need a microphone?
So that people can hear the good news of Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on with what I had to say. We have people that can't even say that they love me.
No.
They can't even say that they tolerate me, and I didn't even say anything. Except God loves you. You don't accept me? Why would I have to get out of Toronto? I don't have to. This is a public sidewalk. I pay my taxes. Everyone's accepted. And that's what we preach as Christians, that everybody is accepted. Jesus died for the sinner. Do you know that every person is a sinner? Don't touch me, please. Please take that off my body. Every heterosexual has sinned. Every homosexual has sinned. And sin is when we violate the laws of God and we go contrary to the things of faith. That's what sin is. You're actually blocking me from walking. You know, I'm not coming in your face blocking you from walking. I'm allowed to walk freely in Canada, Toronto. Please, now you're assaulting me. Please. I'm trying to walk.
talking to us, actually. We're just
I'm trying to walk. This is not love. I'm trying to walk, I'm trying to communicate and exercise my freedom of speech. Now you're trying to trick me? That's assault. It's funny. When people are mature and they actually really love somebody, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. They would allow people to walk on a public sidewalk, but I'm not allowed to walk on a public sidewalk.
Okay, so my first initial view, let me tell you, and I was a little bit backwards on this. My first initial view on this is I was thinking that this was a homosexual preacher, is what I was thinking it was. And I had that backwards. It's not. There was a group of homosexual people there doing whatever they were doing, protesting or whatever. But my point still stands. This guy was very provocative. Very provocative. So, okay. Again, I was a little bit backwards on it, but here you've got people that are doing their own thing, okay? They're doing their own thing. I don't know if they were having a protest or quite what they were doing, and you get a preacher that walks up and, starts getting in people's faces and talking about that's provocative. Did that need to be done? Was he really trying to bring people over to Jesus? I would have to say no. Because when you use those kind of tactics, what you do is you create hatred, not acceptance. And that is what we've seen here in this country during the entire Obama administration. Okay? They were trying to say that they were trying to create, and it's a flipped coin here. They were trying to say that they were trying to create acceptance when it came to the homosexual population and the transgender population and all that. But you don't create acceptance by putting it in everybody's face and rubbing their face in it. That doesn't create acceptance. It creates hatred. It creates hatred. It creates division. Okay? If you want to create acceptance, you leave each other alone. And eventually, over time, people will talk to each other. People will discuss their viewpoints. Human beings have an exceptional ability to work things out if they are allowed to work them out on their own. But if you force a human being to have any kind of a mindset on anything, they're going to resist. They're going to resist. Which is what the point was that I was trying to make. I can't stand up for this street preacher, being a man of the cloth myself. I cannot stand up for this street preacher for approaching people that were doing their own thing and getting into their face and berating them. Oh, he was just trying to say, love God, love. He was berating them. I know these tactics. It's ridiculous. And that's what my whole point is. It's extremism. It's extremism. Westboro Baptist Church is the first U.S. organization that reminds me of tactics like this. Except I would say Westboro Baptist Church is much harsher than this. I don't look for things that cause division. Okay, I look for things that creates bridges. And there's a reason for that. Part of it is God. But that's probably the only time you'll hear those words out of my mouth. Why? Because I'm not here to beat it into your head. I'm here to plant that seed and let you decide whether or not you want to let it grow. That's up to you. All I can do is give you the seed. And the other reason why is because when this world inevitably falls apart, the only thing we're going to have is each other. And when you've got Team A forcing their views down on Team B's throat, and you can pick anything, any topic, any subject, any religion, any nationality, any gender, whatever, and it's going to create a division. And it's going to cause problems when people need to rely on one another. That's not good. That's not good. You know, I was sitting here right before the show. Believe it or not, I didn't even have a subject today. I was like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. So, right before the show, I'm sitting and watching a Facebook group, my jaw literally hanging open at a response. I've talked before about being in this this authors group on Facebook and how it's a great place to be as long as you follow the status line. And you're good. You'll get along with everybody just fine. But if you buck that status line in the least bit, you will have the group founder and the admins on you so hard it's unreal. Even if what you're saying is 110% the truth. And at first I had to laugh when I seen the guy make the comment. The original poster posted something, I don't know if I could even by chance find this thing. The original poster had posted something to the effect of talking about this, oh gosh, apparently there was something that they were thinking was going to kick off, or somebody was planning something, my apologies. Somebody was planning something in New York City. Here is the post right here. Somebody was planning something in New York City. Well, let me read you the post. I've got it here. It says, I refuse to jump to conclusions and assume the guy that was busted trying to commit a terrorist attack in New York City was Muslim. And he was Muslim, and he was a Muslim that supports ISIS. Okay, that's the original post. Oh, God, here we go. Right? Because you're good, and I've said this before too. In that group, you're good. You can say anything you want about Muslims, you're good. You're good. And so somebody else had spoke up. Well, one of the admins had said, most Muslims are not terrorists, but most terrorists are Muslims. Sorry, it's just math. You can't be mad at math. Well, that's not necessarily accurate to begin with, but whatever, you know, it wasn't too far out of line. So somebody had said, given the definition of terrorism, terrorism, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. And then he had stated, if we are all being honest, our country is the biggest terrorist group in the world. Accurate. And if we're going to be talking about ISIS, who created ISIS? Okay, I mean, this is documented. This is not something that can't be proven. This is documented. That is CIA's baby, just like Hezbollah, CIA's baby. It just goes round and round and round. Because we allow people to use these triggers to create more division. When it comes to the Muslim thing, one of my favorite things to tell people is if you're against Muslims so bad, then if you're ever in need of life-saving medical help and it's a Muslim doctor, refuse the help. Refuse the help. And I mean that. I mean that. If you have so much hatred for somebody just because they have a different belief system than you, then you should not allow them to help you, even if your life depends on it. Puts things into perspective, don't it? And that balloon goes up. We're going to need each other. Muslim, Christian, Jew, monk, Mexican, British, whatever. You name it. We're going to need each other. We're going to need every bit of each other. Every bit of it. To be honest, that's why the powers that be and the media establishment is causing all of this division. So that we won't work together. So that we won't unite. You know, with all of the things going on in this country, all of the fighting and bickering back and forth, you shouldn't have the right to do this, well, you shouldn't have the right to do that. Do you know what's happening? Every one of us are losing our rights. Some people may argue that and say, well, no, the gays aren't losing their rights. They got the right to marry now, and they've got this right, and they've got that right. Oh, yeah? How's that homosexual marriage certificate going to fend off a tyrannical government? Oh, it's not? There's an agenda here. They are only giving in on things that won't really help us. But if you notice, if you pay close attention to the very things that will, they're picking it off one by one by one. They're taking away our First Amendment. They're taking away our Second Amendment, our Fourth, our Fifth. Go right down the line. And we're not only allowing it to happen, but we are encouraging it. Largely because we don't think that somebody that thinks differently than us has the right to think that. And that goes across the entire spectrum. And that's why I don't typically get into the divisive things. That's why I normally stay away from it. But this here was being pushed on as a bunch of, I guess I had it flipped, a bunch of, I'm assuming, homosexual people or supporters of homosexual people attacking an innocent street preacher that was just trying to tell them that God loved them. That is not what was going on there. That is not what was going on there. I'll tell you what, my marriage was to an incredibly manipulative, I can't even say it, woman. My family, very manipulative. I can't say it. I don't know why I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? I know it when I see it. I can call manipulation out in the blink of an eye. I can also call out fake victimhood. Don't get in somebody's face and then complain because they touched you. I'm telling you, you get in my face with anything, I don't care what it is, you get in my face with anything, I'm going to hit you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I don't do that. I don't play that. I don't play that. And I have been in that situation before, to where somebody's gotten in my face, and I'm a really relaxed, kind of calm, level-headed person. Believe it or not, I am. And, you know, I normally don't let things bother me too much, but there's a trigger inside of me when somebody approaches me aggressively and gets inside, in front of my face, and gets inside of that personal space. There's a trigger inside of me. And I have decked people for doing that. And do you know that almost every single time that has happened, they claim to be the victim? Almost every single time. If you don't want somebody to hit you, don't harass them, don't get in their face, you let them go about their way, and you go about your own way. Called live and let live. Just saying, I call things as I see it, and I'm not saying that I couldn't be wrong or anything like that. I most certainly could. But that guy was provocative, manipulating. It's exactly what he was doing. Exactly what he was doing. And the reason why he had somebody up his butt with his camera was to get people's natural human response to him doing that, so he could turn around and claim to be the victim, which is exactly what he's doing. But I'm sure he'll get a ton of views. He'll get a ton of people to support him. Because people are cultists like that. It's crazy. So anyway, sorry, I didn't intend to waste that much time on that. But when I seen that, and it kept getting put in my face, and I was, okay, I'll respond to it. I'll respond to it. Okay. Well, I guess, again, I'm like a really calm, level-headed person. I truly, truly am. That's probably why I see things the way that I see things, and I don't allow myself to be manipulated so easily by trigger words or this or that or the other thing. It just doesn't happen. And the reason why is because, again, I was raised by very manipulative people, and wound up marrying a woman that was almost smack dab identical to my mother. And I know the game. I know the game. I avoid the game in a heartbeat. If I see somebody, if like I'm like physically in contact with somebody that I sense that on, I get away from them as quickly as I possibly can. I truly, truly do. I don't like attention seekers. I don't like fake victims. I don't like perpetual victims. I don't like, Nope. They've done nothing but destroy my life. And I will speak out against them. Without a doubt. It's going on 6 years I haven't seen my 2 little boys. Because of those manipulating games and lies. Anyway, don't mean to get on my life, but there's reasons why I am the way I am and why I'm so strongly in the way that I am, and that's why. So, just a little bit of background. But anyway, let me go ahead and cover this real quick. So we are at $5.48 on our Amazon affiliate. And I do show more items ordered. They're just not, I guess, shipped yet. They'll probably be showing tomorrow. Because I believe Marshmallow said something about ordering some things. I think they're there. I just don't, it just hasn't updated. It probably will tomorrow, update with that. Anyway, so we're at 5:48, and thank you to everybody that participates in that. For those that don't know, in the description of the videos is our Amazon affiliate link. If you can still love me and accept me enough to use our Amazon affiliate link, it would be much appreciated. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyway, it would be much appreciated. You can also, on our homepage at thewatchmannews.com, we've got search boxes. It's hard to talk when you're smiling like this. You can put anything you want in there, like anti-smile cream. I don't know if that even exists, but you can put anything you want in there. You can click go. It will open up an Amazon page with your search results, and it's the same thing if you purchase something. We get the credit. If you don't shop Amazon, if you don't accept them, sorry. You can, we've got a donate button on our menu. If you click that, our donate button, it will open up our PayPal donation page. Sorry, this is real hard to talk. It will open our PayPal donation page. It will say Transforming Disabilities at the top, and the purpose of the Watchman News donation. That's how you know it's us, although I probably really don't deserve it today. Anyway, let's discuss some headlines, if I can. Glasses. Glasses would be nice. Uh-oh. Yeah, they would be nice, but I don't know where they're at. I put them down somewhere. Backup glasses. Okay, these work good enough. Let's see. I gotta get scrolled back to where I was. Sorry, I'm a little bit unprepared. Let's see. Okay. I don't believe I shared this one yesterday. Mexico moves to curb migration after U.S. threatens tariffs. This is something to pay very close attention to, this right here. U.S. commander says American forces face imminent threat from Iran. That's something to pay attention to. That's current U.S. commander, okay? There's so much going on with that. I could spend 2 hours on that. Like this report that came out involving those tankers that there was an incident with, and I have to word it like that because I don't think anybody really knows what happened to the tankers. It was interesting how it was written because they said that it appears to be state actors, but they don't mention which state actors. And I find that very interesting because I would think that if they really felt that it was Iran, they would say that it was Iran. But I think they're on to something, and we'll see where that leads. However, it's important to understand that, and it's also important to know the type of rhetoric that's going on from our own Pentagon and in our own military command positions. It's important to know that stuff. So be ready. Be prepared. I couldn't be any more serious about that. Be ready. No crops mean no profits for farmers during ongoing Midwest flooding. There's been a few different, I'm trying to think, reports on this here on our local news channels. And these farmers are in some bad shape. They're really in some bad shape because there's no way they're going to be able to get anything planted this year. No way at all. And that's not good. It's not only not good for them as far as, their personal situation with their farms, but it's also not good as a nation because it's going to lead us to a food shortage. And one of the one of the reports that I had watched, it was actually on a different channel. That link's from Fox 2. I watched a report from one of the channels, and they had actually started going into a little bit about the coming food shortage as a result of all of this. So it's just another thing to keep an eye on. I would heavily recommend that if you can, to go ahead and start storing back things. And I know, many of you are preppers, speaking to the choir here kind of thing, but I would still make a push to put back even more and even more, because not only is it going to go up with everything else going on, it'd just be a good idea. Like Bear Independent says, store it to the rafters. Store it to the rafters. I know we would if we could. I would be storing it to the rafters. But this is bad. This is bad stuff. This is not good. Not good. And I don't see next year getting any better. I think it's going to be worse next year. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I did a report on this last night. Oh, I was so upset when I read this. TSA allows newly arrived illegals to fly without ID. Oh, I was so upset when I read that. And again, you have to understand, I don't get triggered by, it's not illegals, it's not, Mexicans, that's not what triggers me. What triggers me is the idea that American citizens have to stand in line and get molested. They have to walk through a machine that puts unbelievable amounts of X-ray energy through their body, which is a severe health risk, okay? The amount of background checks and everything involved with the Real ID Act in order for you to be able to get through security to board a plane, okay? All of these things that to me is extremely, extremely discriminatory against American citizens, that they don't even have to have an ID. Come on through. And it has nothing to do with bigotry. It has nothing to do with their illegal immigrants. No, everybody should have to. This is concerning. Now, if you mix this in with the report that had just come out, I don't know if it came out today or yesterday, but it's very recent, that there is an ISIS prisoner being held in Syria that has just stated that ISIS is going to try to get members through the southern border. Okay? That's concerning. That's very concerning. I just want to remind everybody something, okay? Because I get it. It's easy to forget. There's so much going on. But Canada, not long ago, with open arms, accepted a bunch of, and I'll give you the name that they used, white helmet refugees. Okay? And I was screaming then, saying, we're not even watching the northern border, and they're going to slip them right in. They're going to slip them right in. And I believe that's what they're doing. And I believe that we are going to have, and I've already been over this on who created ISIS and all that. I know. But we are going to be having terrorists coming in from the north and the south. And I believe, to be quite honest with you, that it's on purpose. That is absolutely 100% on purpose. And I do expect a false flag very soon. Very soon. One way or another, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Probe says state actor likely behind attack on tankers off UAE doesn't mention Iran. That's what I was just telling you about. Interesting, huh? Old wine, new bottles. Twitter's simplified rules are just as vague and arbitrary. Arbitrary. I'll learn to spoke. University to return $26.5 million donation over benefactors' pro-choice views. Alabama, need I say more? And hey, I'm all about stand for what you want. I'm also about, you don't have to, I'm anti-provocation, okay? I think that all these individuals and groups, no matter what side they're on, going up to all these different companies and all these different individuals and all of that, demanding that they know their view on this, that, or the other thing, I think that's wrong. Can't people have any bit of privacy in their life? Can't people have any bit of independent thought? Do they have to join up with the team? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now let's see. U.S. won't train any more Turkish F-35 pilots as Ankara refuses to ditch S-400, says a report. They've been saying it the entire time they weren't going to get rid of the S-400 deal. I don't understand what is so hard to understand about that. It makes no sense. A Russian mother sentenced to 7 years for kidnapping own child from abusive U.S. husband. Now, that headline, I'm not jumping on that to be truth. And when you read, I'm not going to read into the article. We don't have that much time. But when you read kind of down into it, first of all, there is not one shred of evidence that he was abusive. Okay, it actually appears to me that that's exactly what she was doing, was trying to kidnap her child or their child, and kind of interesting, but that's how things in the United States normally, she would have gotten away with it. I honestly think the only reason why she didn't get away with it is for one, she wasn't American, and for two, it was to another country. I think that's what got the attention, because this happens a lot. Again, I just told you, I haven't seen my children for going on 6 years. Okay? I didn't do anything wrong. Did not do anything wrong. Okay? But it's literally that easy in the United States. It really is. And I'm not trying to pick sides on genders here or anything like that, but the states, in most cases anyway, I know Illinois, and many others, a father is on his own. They won't offer the father a legal representation, free legal representation, okay? And so the father's just left on his own, and in many cases the mother gets free legal representation, and the father just gets raked right over the coals, okay? And I've even had people ask me the question, well, why can't they, represent both the mother and the father? Different individuals represent. Because what they will tell you, I know I've been there, what they will tell you is that it's a conflict of interest. So that if they're representing one parent, that organization can't represent the other parent. And it's a game, is what it is. As far as Illinois is concerned, that organization is called Land of Lincoln Legal Assistance, or at least it used to be. And I can tell you this, you would be hard-pressed to find one male that can say that Land of Lincoln Legal Assistance has represented them. You'd be very hard-pressed. So, I could go into that too, and I'm not going to. It's sad. It's sad. And Illinois is not alone. This is happening in many states. A Russian mother sentenced to 7... Oh, I already read that. Not again. ISIS plotted to infiltrate U.S. through Mexican border, says a prisoner. May steps down as party leader as Tories scramble to select her successor. Russian economy strong and resilient thanks to Western sanctions, says a former French presidential envoy. Russia and China have a strategic alliance that makes sense, says Russian Sovereign Wealth Fund chief. India to buy 100 more of the Israeli bunker buster bombs used in attack on Pakistan terror camp. Russia slams U.S. Navy for unacceptable behavior after warships near miss in East China Sea. Russia to launch Nord Stream 2 despite Danish hurdles and U.S. threats to derail project. Russia to double global food exports, ready to replace U.S. agricultural products in China. A global trust in the U.S. dollar is falling, says Putin. U.S. belief that China wants military bases in Arctic is totally baseless, says Beijing's envoy to Moscow. I need an envoy. That's what I need. That's what I'm missing in my life. I need an envoy and a posse. I need an envoy and a posse. Then I'll be complete. Let's see. U.S. attempt to push Huawei from global market is the first sign of global tech war, says Putin. I was getting the strangest looks. Let's see. India sees new deals with Moscow on nuclear energy, space, and high tech as a priority, says the ambassador. U.S. sanctions Iran's petrochemical holding group, subsidiaries, and sales agents. Exclusive first video of Julian Assange in Belmarsh prison. And yeah, he is looking pretty. The term was used, I believe, in the headlines yesterday. Skeletal. Yeah, he does look skeletal. That's a shame. It truly is. I know he's not doing too well. I hope that I do hope that they get him proper medical attention. He really does not deserve to be tortured. He really does not. This guy, honestly, in my opinion, but he should be held up as a hero. Without a doubt, he should be held up as a hero. That's what journalism about. What it was about. What he was doing is what journalism is. It's really sad. Watch Russian and U.S. warships almost collide in East China Sea. Second former GOP state senator found shot dead in 2 days, this time in Oklahoma. And let's see, disgusting Trump slams nervous Nancy Pelosi over jail not impeach comment. And this is, it goes right along the lines of what I was talking about. It really does, this division. And it's unreal. It is unreal. Look, I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not a Trumpster. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not flying the Trump flag. He's our president. And I will look at it as that way. I'm not going to hashtag not my president. I don't have that much of an issue with him that I can't accept the fact that he's our president. And I'm not against necessarily the idea that he's our president. I think that we could have picked a lot better choices, not between him and Hillary, by the way, but we could have had much better choices had we been given the chance. But nevertheless, it is what it is. He's the one that's there. And I will say with complete certainty that there's no Russian collusion, that he wasn't trying to obstruct justice, that the guy is, whether you agree with his methods or what he's trying to do or not, the guy's just trying to do what he said he was going to do. And nobody wants to let him. And that includes a lot of Republicans. That's crazy. But, this whole thing with impeachment and now nervous Nancy and her, put him in prison. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. While others are roaming free and nobody's even talking about them going to jail, people that may have had unsecured email servers in their basements, people like that, right? Other people, some that were possibly presidents that were involved in gun running things and, pedogate kind of things and And we're going after a guy because he hurts people's feelings. Really. Ridiculous. Ridiculous what's going on in this country. It really, truly is. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close up the monologue, and we'll try to mosey on through. We will be joining up with Pepper Nurse 1 at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's if he still accepts me. And I gotta quit. I gotta quit. Anyway, we will be joining up with him at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're here for the live show, stick around. We won't be closing until 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank God it's Friday. And if you're just here for the monologue or you're watching the recording thereof, I've got to get this monologue out. Thank you very much. As always, God bless you. We love you. Oh, did I push that on him? I got to quit. Okay. God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.